and lead us to be the people you want us to be. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have a hand up. Thank you. Next, we have a proclamation. I'd like Janine Taylor to please come forward. Janine has been a very important part of our community for many years. Whereas, after careers in education and corporate sales, in 1997, Janine Taylor opened a folk art gallery in Winter Park to preserve the stories, traditions, and artistic expressions of Florida and the American South. And whereas in 2004, Janine Taylor wisely moved to the historic Hodges building. That part wasn't in there, I just added that. At 211 East 1st Street in downtown Sanford, transforming a 5,000 square foot space into what would become one of Florida's premier centers for contemporary Southern folk art and outsider art. Whereas Janine Taylor Folk Art has, for more than 2 decades, been a cornerstone of Sanford's cultural identity, bringing vibrancy and artistic momentum to historic downtown Sanford. Whereas the gallery has featured nationally recognized artists, including Teresa Disney, Michael Banks, Purvis Young, John Cornbread Anderson, and Butch Anthony, extending Sanford's influence far beyond the region into the national folk art community. Whereas the gallery has welcomed thousands of residents and visitors to its exhibitions, openings, workshops, and community events while nurturing deep relationships among artists, collectors, and the Sanford community. Whereas Ms. Taylor's leadership, vision, and steadfast commitment have earned her gallery numerous recognitions, including multiple distinctions as Sanford's best art gallery, and features in respected arts and culture outlets such as Raw Vision, Orlando Magazine, and Orlando Weekly, along with extensive praise on regional and national travel platforms, making her studio an important part of Sanford's cultural and civic life. And whereas after decades of service to the arts and immeasurable contributions to the cultural growth and identity of our city, Janine Taylor retired December 31, 2025, marking the close of a remarkable career and beginning of a new chapter for the gallery, which will reopen under the management of Howard Marks. Now, therefore, I, Art Woodruff, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Sanford, Florida, do hereby officially proclaim December 31, 2025 as Janine Taylor Folk Art Day, thanking Janine for years of cultural leadership in the city of Sanford and wishing her all the best in her well-deserved retirement.
Thank you all very much, because I couldn't have done this without you all, but I am so glad that I moved to Sanford and had a community, small community, that just embraced what I was doing and just helped me along the way. And I brought in countless artists, and they said the same thing about Sanford. They just loved it here. They felt welcomed, and I just really appreciate you. Thank you.
Janine, you are such an asset to our community, and I am so grateful to know you, and just thank you for being a blessing to the city of Sanford and District 1. You will greatly be missed.
Thank you,
regards to speaking before the commission, if you plan to speak on an item, if you would please complete one of the yellow citizen input forms, which you will find at the back, and it will be brought up to me. The public will be given an opportunity to speak on any item before the city commission during the regular meeting. Before the consent agenda, I will check to see if anyone wants to speak on any of those items. During public hearings, I will ask if anyone wishes to speak on each item before a motion is made. And regular items, if you have not completed a form And if comments are not called for, if you would just please raise your hand, you'll be recognized. There's a 3-minute time limit for each speaker on each item, except a person representing an organization and presenting its views during a quasi-judicial hearing. Citizen participation is held at the end of public hearings, and any individual may address the commission on any topic not on the agenda. There's a 5-minute time limit for citizen comments. And that brings us to the minutes of the January 12 regular meeting and work session. I understand there was one correction.
Yes, sir. It was taken care of and has been updated in the official minutes to be taken care of. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Move to approve as amended.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Before we go on, I guess I should mention that Commissioner Wiggins and Commissioner Thomas are either already there or on their way to Tallahassee for legislative action days. So they will be representing us there, and then I will be heading there to join them by tomorrow. This is consent agenda. Anyone in the audience wish to speak on any of the items in the consent agenda? Okay, then I bring the commission for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously. Brings us to first reading of ordinance 4843. Ms. Green.
Ordinance number 2026-4843, an ordinance of the City of Sanford, Florida, providing for the rezoning of a parcel of real property totaling approximately 11.02 acres in size, located at 1201 West 3rd Street and assigned tax parcel identification numbers 2519-30-506-4000U0, 2519-30507, 0100-0000, 2519-30507-0200-40, and 2519-305AG-016-0010 by the Seminole County Property Appraiser, which property is located within the Sanford city limits, to establish the Carisbrook Terrace PD with modified design standards, providing for findings and intent, providing for the taking of implementing administrative actions, providing for the adoption of a map by reference, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and the correction of Scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date and potential reversion.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, at its regularly scheduled meeting on January the 8th, 2026, the city's Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend that the City Commission adopt ordinance rezoning 11.2 acres at the project address of 1201 West 3rd Street from multifamily residential to planned development to be consistent with the comprehensive plan as outlined by the planning staff and subject to the development order as outlined in the staff report.
Okay, before we get to the public hearing, this is quasi-judicial, so it's time to read the statement. In order to conserve time, I'll read the statement just once tonight. When an agenda item involves the quasi-judicial process, commissioners must disclose all ex parte communications, including the name of the communicator and the time, place, and substance of the communication. Written communications, commissioners' investigations, site visits, and receipt of expert opinions must also be disclosed and made a part of the record. Persons who have opinions contrary to those expressed in an ex parte communication may refute or respond to the communication at the hearing when they make their presentation. In a quasi-judicial process, parties to the proceeding are generally the city and the applicant. Others who have legal standing to appeal the decision can also request to be recognized as a party to the proceedings. Parties are subject to cross-examination and must give their testimony under oath. Persons do not have to be a party to the proceedings to be recognized and provide comments. Members of the public who wish to make comments are not subject to cross-examination and are not sworn as evidentiary witnesses. Comments of the public that provide facts relevant to the application are considered by the commission in the decision. The qualifications of city staff are part of the agenda materials. All testimony and evidence provided to the City Commission must be competent, material, and substantial under Florida law. A guide to quasi-judicial proceedings has been published on the city's website, and copies are available at the table in the back of the chambers. Okay, so all three of our public hearings are quasi-judicial, so if you plan to speak as a party for public hearing A, B, or C, so the current one, the Seminole Town Center, or the Low Avenue project. If you could please stand. If you plan on speaking on behalf of any of those projects, then if you could raise your right hand and state your name. Just work. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give in the matters now at hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. All right, thank you. All right, so Ms. Henson, do you have a presentation on this one to start?
Yes,
Hold on. I have nothing to disclose.
Oh, sorry, thanks.
okay. We're good?
Mhm.
All right. This particular item is a fairly comprehensive report, but I put together a PowerPoint just to help guide through for both the commission and the audience. So what's before you is a plan development rezone at 1201 West 3rd Street. Some general information is on the screen. It is a current Sanford Housing Authority property, home of the former Housing Authority houses. However, they are being redeveloped. This is the segment that's located between Olive and Pecan, between 3rd and 5th. And it's currently zoned multifamily with high-density residential. There's a site vicinity map to assist. Basically, it's the first two phases were built, 64-unit multifamily developments that were approved with modified standards, but they were approved through a conditional use process, so they did not have to come before the City Commission. But our modifications to the articles that we did earlier last year, they changed anything over 3 acres goes through the PD process so that it affords a more uniform process over 3 acres and allows for conditional uses to more focus on infill. So phase 3 and 4 are what's before you tonight. They are 160 units total, basically 8 3-story buildings with amenities such as a clubhouse, pool, and a dog park. Prior, the City Commission considered and approved the vacate of the north-south right-of-way that runs through the project, as well as the east-west one that was done several decades ago that still shows on the map, but we have to resolve that with the property appraiser because their records are incomplete, apparently. So, in your packet, you have an overall master plan showing the whole project, but it's phase 1, which you can see is the western half, which includes a master stormwater pond, as well as phase 2. The architectural elevations are also presented to you, including the 2 different building types. There's type 1 and type 2, and they're consistent with what was approved in phases 1 and 2. As part of your packet, you can see the variations from various land development regulations that include things like building height, living area, visual screening, and parking, as well as the rest of it is also consistent with phase 1 and 2. There are other Schedule E modifications that were considered in all now 4 phases, anything from the gated entry elements to unit clustering, the sizes and building unit standards, as well as some amenities and services. And they're all laid out in your packet. However, if you have questions, we can go over them. But basically, in summary, recommendations, the applicant submitted justification for all the deviations as noted. Staff supports the requested deviations and finds them to be consistent with phases 1 and 2. And they align with the project intent. So staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission have put forth before you a recommendation of approval for the request.
Questions for staff?
No questions for staff.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Can we pull up the plan, the master plan?
The overall?
There.
Okay.
The dumpster locations seem to be at the far end from where the entry and exit is. Is that correct? Am I seeing 2 dumpster locations?
Yes, it appears there are 2
I think
dumpster
they
locations.
are
Yes. They're right here and there.
and
Yeah.
here. Okay, so I know sometimes in apartments, we have issues with people putting the garbage on their vehicle to take and drop off at the dumpster.
Yeah.
So we're asking the people from the very front to drive back here. Is that, I mean,
Well, in this case, it's usually we try to keep the dumpsters out of the main entry point.
so, yeah, I understand that, but
you know, because when they get overflowing and then they're by your entry, that's what you see from the right-of-way. So we kind of recede them into the project itself. Yeah.
It's also when they fall off the car and go all over the place when the dumpsters are by the entrance.
Yeah, it's when they forget, basically they forget.
Yeah.
That it's on the car.
I'm just wondering if this is a good placement for,
It does keep it a little further from the line of sight from the main entrances. So it doesn't create that, we're driving into a nice community and the first thing we see is
I
a
understand
dumpster.
that.
But we can, I mean, we can work with the applicant if that's something that the commission wants to see.
I don't mind the placement right there. I agree. It shouldn't. There's a couple of complexes for affordable apartments. When you ride right in there, the first thing you see is the trash can, the trash dumpster.
And during the holidays or any other time or a malfunction,
okay.
it ends up being an eyesore at the front of the complex.
All right, can we go to the pond, the main pond? Is it gonna be square like that?
Our regulations do it
We know
not.
I don't like
Right.
square.
Our regulations
ponds.
actually
I like them
don't
to look a
allow
little
for square.
natural.
Yeah, we'll have to work with them to make sure that the water volumes are met and still the code is met, because it does say that they can't be square like that.
And is
Mr. Mayor, what time do you leave for Tallahassee,
it-
please?
As soon as we're done here. And is there any landscaping around it?
There is required to be, so
Okay, so
the
it's not
master plan
shown.
is just
Okay,
conceptual,
all right.
yeah. We'll make sure that during the engineering review that they meet the requirements for that.
Okay, I'm good then. Then does the applicant want to speak, or is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this?
I do have a question for the applicant. And in all honesty, I guess, Attorney Green, you would tell me if I'm able to ask the gentleman the question, because I was looking at the economic impact statement, because I'm all for this project, phase 1 and 2, phenomenal. And so if this is going to just piggyback off of that, is great. But I was a little concerned when it talks about the economic impact and it says that it will be primarily based on bringing back residents to the core of Goldsboro. With so many families being displaced over a decade, the entire area has suffered, so on and so forth. But they want to bring people back into the neighborhood. My question is, are they just trying to bring people back in, or are we trying to bring the previous residents who lived there back in? I know that there was a complaint originally in phase 1 that some of the people who left were not able to get back in because, I mean, I guess technically you can't reserve spaces, but I don't know, I mean, reserve apartments. But do they have like a special preference or something like that if you lived in the Goldsboro area previous to them knocking down the housing? And then when you come back, or is it open or available for anybody that meets the eligibility for the affordable housing? I know I just said a whole lot, but.
There was nothing improper about your question. You
Okay.
just wanted to know as to whether it is a blind application process. And my understanding is that it is, that those who qualify. Applicant, is there anything else you would add to that?
Good evening, Mike Safuto, APCON. I'm the engineer of record. I don't specifically have an answer for you tonight.
Okay.
I can communicate with the owner and get you correspondence for their intent
Okay.
at this meeting.
Well, just for the record, that's what one of my concerns is. I appreciate that we have the affordable housing, but I thought that it was once those residents were moved out, that we would create housing for people in the Goldsboro community to be able to come back in. But if it's a blind application, then you could come from anywhere and move into these really nice affordable apartments.
Right. The issue or the question as to whether it is geared towards or whether there are set-asides, that would not be a basis upon which to approve or disapprove
Right.
the program or the development. The intent of the development, as I understanding, is to gear towards market rate or low-income housing, and that's what's before you. But we can still have your question answered by getting with the developer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it for me.
Right? Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wish to speak to this item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, bring the commission for action.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously. First reading of ordinance 4844.
Ordinance number 2026-4844, an ordinance of the City of Sanford, Florida, providing for the amending the zoning on a 48.89 acre portion of real property located at 200 Town Center Circle and assigned tax parcel identification numbers 291930, 5LW 0100-40, and 291930, 5LW 010B, followed by 40s, and 291930, 5LW 0400-40s by the Seminole County Property Appraiser, which property is located within the Sanford city limits, establishing a Phase 1 amendment to the Seminole Town Center PD with modified design standards, providing for findings and intent, providing for the taking of implementing administrative actions, providing for the adoption of a map by reference, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification and the correction of Scribner's errors, and providing for an effective date and potential reversion.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, at its regularly scheduled meeting on January the 8th of 2026, the city's Planning and Zoning Commission voted 5-1 to recommend the City Commission approve the request to the PD amendment with all the applicant requested deviations and the parking lot layout to be consistent with the revised configuration presented at the hearing.
Does anyone have anything to declare on this one?
Yes, sir. I listened to the planning and zoning meeting held on January the 8th in the commission chambers. I also spoke with the economic development director on 121 and 126 regarding this project.
I spoke to Jay Douglas, Ardent VP of Acquisition and Redevelopment, prior to the meeting tonight out in the lobby.
And I have spoken with Brady Lazard, Economic Development, and I spoke with the applicant just before the meeting. All right, so, Ms. Thompson.
Okay. Yes, so as noted, this has been before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and there was a large amount of discussion. The main concern, you'll read in your staff report, was about the parking and the enhancements therein, but I'll walk through a presentation that says, so the 48.89 acre site is a portion of the overall Seminole Town Center located south of State Road 46, north of 417, east of I-4, and west of Town Center Boulevard. It's at 200 Town Center Circle. It has a PD zoning and a future land use designation of high I-4 intensity. Property owners are TAC Seminole Town Center and 320 Town Center Circle, and it consists of multiple parcels. So here are maps that identify the current zoning layer and what a general aerial of the overall pretty much abandoned portions of the mall. So the request is a proposed revision to the Seminole Town Center PD Master Plan to modify uses and development standards for a 48.89 acre portion in the anchor location of the former Macy's department store. The Seminole Town Center PD Master Plan proposes a 153,820 square foot wholesale retail center, a 2,219 square foot liquor store, vehicle service area, and gasoline fuel pumps. So as the initial phase of the development, this stage establishes a baseline for future investment, and the quality and character demonstrated here will influence expectations and guide the trajectory of subsequent phases. So in your packet, you have a master plan, lays out you can see the gray shaded area is the main purpose for this phase 1 of the overall portion owned by the new owners of the majority of the mall, and a small portion of what is now Elevate. As you can see in your packet, there are numerous lists of deviations from the city code, which they're requesting in order to proceed with this project. So part of what's in your packet is a site layout concept plan. This is not fully engineered, and it's a concept that can shift slightly, but what's before you is a request for something that's generally consistent with what's before you.
So after Planning and Zoning Commission, the applicant then submitted an email requesting a modified look at how they're presenting the information. So they've provided what's on the screen, which is not in your packet because it was not a formal submittal. It was just a presentation to staff via email. So it included how they wanted to look at the parking lot, and I believe they're going to further present this to you as part of their presentation. But they wanted to break the parking lot into 4 quadrants to better explain how they're meeting certain elements of code. The other portion is here, and they broke down additional landscaping requirements, and they'll break down further how to explain that to you. So the proposed elevations are in your packet. It includes a signage element. You'll note that the signage element staff has requested an increased amount of sign square footage for us to be able to work with them to do a comprehensive sign program, because the comprehensive sign program currently, as it lays out, only allows up to 600 square feet, no matter how much staff wants to work with them. So in their request, they don't want to consider the comprehensive sign program right now, but they would like to proceed with increasing that amount of square footage so that staff can work with them. But it is a significant increase. Our maximum is 600. They're going somewhere around 1,000 square feet for just attached wall signage on this one building. And then at its regularly scheduled meeting on January 8th, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 5-1 to recommend approval of the requested PD amendment, with the applicant requesting deviations in the parking lot layout be consistent with the revised configuration presented at the hearing. Commissioner Matthews dissented on the basis that compliance with the city's landscaping and parking requirements do not create an undue hardship on the applicant, and ample parking is available throughout the existing PD. So the following conditions are provided by staff to accompany any approval. These are listed in your staff report. Very standard conditions about the regulations, the PD expiring if the infrastructure is not in, generally complying with their overall master plan, the property being developed in accordance with the future land use and development standards identified, automotive uses, including the gasoline service and auto repairs, limited only to phase 1. We're not extending the uses of automotive throughout the rest of the PD. It's only in that gray shaded area that was noted in the opening. Development plan by an engineer, a comprehensive sign program, which I just spoke about, and then as the PD master plan approval applies only to phase 1, subsequent phases may require additional modifications to ensure appropriate interconnectivity between the building, site, and uses. Modifications may include adjustments to circulation, access, landscaping, or architectural treatments to maintain consistency with the city's comprehensive plan and the overall intent for cohesive development. So adequate roadway and utility capacity has to be demonstrated prior to the development to ensure compliance with adopted concurrency and level of service standards for each phase of the development of the Seminole Town Center. And if staff and the property owner are unable to agree, it returns to Planning and Zoning Commission as a public hearing to determine adjudication of how to proceed. So the following condition was added by the Planning Commission to be added to the ordinance if deemed appropriate by the Commission, is that the parking lot layout shall be consistent with the plan presented by the applicant at the January 8th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And that's where my presentation ends. I'm sure there'll be questions, so.
Are we allowed to ask questions? No? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was what they provided was really good, but I'm confused when I heard you say parts of Elevate. I don't see how what part of Elevate in the gray?
Okay, so on the master plan here, if you look on the upper left-hand corner on the one on the screen, you see the triangle? The little triangle that cuts up the building corner? That goes into the Elevate property.
So just the parking, not the actual building?
Yes,
Okay.
just a portion of the parking lot
okay.
will be encumbered by the new
Got it.
development on the south.
Okay, okay. And then, and I'm pretty sure maybe the applicant will be able to answer this because the elevations here, I'm trying to figure out, do we have a picture of the existing mall?
They do.
They do?
The
Okay.
pictures of the existing mall,
All right.
yeah.
I just wanted to see how that,
I was trying not to I knew that they would have a presentation. I reviewed their
Got it.
presentation, so I figured why double the information?
Thank
for it?
you.
Any other questions?
Not for Eileen.
Okay. All right, if the applicant would like to come forward?
Mhm.
You've got it, you gonna click for me, or do you want me to click?
She usually holds on pretty tight to that, so
It's warm.
you're special.
Good. I'm an attorney. Everybody laughs at this, so I don't have to get sworn in. I was. I know, it usually
She
gets
gets
the laugh.
sworn out instead.
Rebecca Wilson, 215 North Eola Drive, here on behalf of Ardent, who is the owner. Back in March of 2025, Ardent purchased those portions of the mall that Eileen put up on the screen. And we have with us tonight people who braved a winter storm to be with us. We have Jay Douglas from Ardent here from Atlanta. We have Carolyn Jones, our architect, in from Seattle. We have J.P. Andrews here from Northern Virginia, and Eddie McDonald, he just came over from Tampa. But I appreciate all of them being here so that we can answer any questions that you all may have. And just for clarity, at the Planning and Zoning meeting, the P&Z members did recommend to you all to approve the PD amendment with the deviations as we requested. And we also agree with all of the conditions that staff has added, along with that condition related to the site plan. Maybe this will help answer your question, Commissioner. So we have been working with all of the other owners in the Seminole Town Center. And in particular, we've been working with Elevate. If you're familiar with the mall, you know, there's a significant amount of grade change.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been working with them to make sure that we could locate the Costco in a way that reduces sort of how we need to deal with those elevations, and also make the location acceptable to them as one of the other members and really kind of co-investors in this large redevelopment.
Okay.
And we're excited we can say the name Costco, and we did at the Planning and Zoning meeting. I know within the PD documents, we refer to it as the wholesale retail, but it is Costco. And as I mentioned, JP is with Costco and can answer any questions you have that are particular to the Costco. But this is the first phase in the redevelopment. We were really excited to get a retailer such as Costco interested in making a significant investment in the mall and in the overall redevelopment. This is what it looks like right now. In fact, when it was purchased in March, Ardent has done a great job of trying to clean up some of the landscaping and other issues that were out there. We have lots of future development plans, different schemes that we've looked at for rearranging the mall. All of those will have to come back to you all after the approval of the Costco.
Okay.
And this is what Eileen was talking about. It's this little area right here in the footprint of the Costco that is within the overall Elevate property boundary. I'll have Eddie come up and we can talk a little bit more about the different deviations. But what we discussed a lot at Planning and Zoning when it came to parking is obviously it is a significant improvement over what is there now. And we were trying to balance that with many of the site constraints which we have, including the elevation changes, the location of they used to be the Florida power lines, now I believe it's Duke, along with the needs that Costco has in order to serve their clients and customers. So this is an explanation of the parking deviation,
and then showing the site plan that we shared with your P&Z members. Again, we weren't saying we didn't need the deviation. We were just showing that we believe we meet the intent of the code, where instead of having just one large sea of parking in front of the Costco, there really are these areas that surround the Costco that make it really convenient for our customers. These are the sidewalks. This is where the entrance is located. So you have parking on the side, parking diagonal from the entrance, and then parking, really the smallest bit of the parking is right here at the front. Just to help you, this is I-4, and then this is the fuel station right here. So we do have a landscape buffers all the way around the exterior, including landscaping on the interior. Again, we did.
One question for you, I'm so
Sure,
sorry.
of course.
There's one main entrance there, and there's no entrance on the I-4 side? I just wondering, what's that side?
Correct. So I'll let Eddie answer, but my understanding is that this area is loading, and
Okay.
then this area is tire service
Okay.
area right here.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So just one door in and out where they check to make sure you remember right there.
Okay.
The architecture, we did not have a lot of questions on that at P&Z, but happy to run through that if there are any questions here. And, your staff does a great job. By the time we get in front of this board, they were very generous with their time and sitting down and really helping us come up with ways where we could either meet the code requirements or meet the intention of the code requirements. And this obviously did not start, the architecture we're showing now is not where we started, but was part of a negotiation with your staff. And we think it's going to look great. And
Can we go back really quickly?
absolutely.
Is that the sign that we're talking about that would need the deviation, Eileen?
There's four.
Yeah,
so
but I'm
there's a
saying
sign-
that one, and that
a
one,
sign
and that one on
here,
that side,
a
are those
sign
the
here.
ones?
A sign here, and then there's one.
Okay.
Yes. It's interesting because this building almost doesn't have a rear
Mm-hmm.
the way that it is situated on the site. And so that's why we're asking for the additional signage. Also, I mean, it is a large building, and so it's, at some point, you have to have signage that looks good with the scale of the architecture.
I agree.
And then, we would be remiss because Brady has been so helpful to us without mentioning some of the things that get your economic development department excited. And that is both jobs for construction and permanent Costco jobs. And then we took a look at the assessed values for the Costco in Winter Park and Altamont Springs, assuming we're around a $13.6 million in assessed value. And again, that's just for this Costco. That would be, in year one, about $100,000 in ad valorem taxes just for the city portion, so going into the general fund. And certainly, in a 5-year period, that continues to increase. And then also the sales tax revenues are pretty significant. Our first year of operation, it's about a $260 million gross sales in a new store. And my understanding, I don't understand completely how you all receive some of the sales tax money in return, but that this gets paid to Seminole County, and then you all have an agreement for sharing the sales tax. But it's a significant reinvestment in the mall by Costco and by Arden. We hope that it inspires new redevelopment for the remainder of the mall. And we also believe that it will be a significant economic driver for the city.
Mm-hmm.
With that, Commissioners and Mayor, I'm happy to bring up our architect or our engineer in case you had any specific questions.
Yeah, can we back up a slide?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm guessing you are not the person to ask about the layout and landscaping and stuff.
Let's bring up Eddie. He has much better details than I do, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, does this layout match the one?
It does.
Okay. So, let me get my bearings.
Your name, please, sir?
Edward McDonald, Thomas
Thank-
Engineering Group,
Thank
civil
you.
engineer.
Right, so the so this one and there's one over here, those are just sidewalks.
Yep.
But
Pedestrian
the
connection.
one that's further along here is landscape,
Just landscape.
but that's the only aisle or row between parking aisles that's landscaped?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Would you want me to kind of walk you through the
Yeah,
site?
please.
Okay. So we're asking for deviations related to the site. The 10-foot wide islands, which you just mentioned, Mayor. The number of islands per every 10 parking spaces is per code. We're asking for an average of 15 spaces, a max of 20 per the site constraints. And the third parking related variance is the maximum parking that we're allowed. The fourth is not shown up here, which is the 5-foot landscape, 5-foot strip around the building fronting any public right-of-way. That's not listed. So I want to kind of give you an understanding of the site and the site constraints specifically. So we went through a few different iterations of the site to get to this point. And what you have to understand is what we're up against with existing FPL easements, which are highlighted for you here. Now, these are transmission easements, so it's not just a simple power pole that you see in your neighborhood that you can relocate. We have to work within those easements, keeping those pole locations, working with the grades of those poles, because we can't afford to touch them. So there's one that runs through the site east to west, breaks south, and there's also one that runs parallel to I-4. Other site features is the building ingress egress, facing it towards the public right-of-ways that are to the east. We have the fuel delivery, which and the fuel gas station, which is a very unique Costco item, but there's really only one place that fits. It's really kind of hemmed in, boxed in with the FPL easements. We have the back of house oriented towards I-4. We have the elevate parking improvements where significant elevation changes, and then we have future connectivity to the future phases of the mall. And it's all circled by the internal private ring road, which is Town Center Circle. To the east is Town Center Boulevard, which is the public right-of-way. But we have existing landscape between us and the ring road between us and the public right-of-way already. So I want to also explain to you just how a Costco site operates and what we're taking the existing site features and what we're trying to make it a functional, well-operating store location for Costco that is about the Costco customer experience, which is a very big thing that they have hammered into my head with 15 years of working with them. So it's a very unique shopping destination. They're committed to the membership experience. So for Costco, 850 parking spaces, that's their sweet spot. I mentioned the fuel truck delivery, how that operates, the back of house, compactors, everything outside of the customer. We don't want customers going over in front of the loading area. We have to push it over. The building front door orientation, it's in a great spot for this site. We have the ring road on the east and west, right? So that sets the east-west boundary. We can't go any further with the site. And to the north, we have the Elevate parking lot, which is outside of our developer's control, Ardent's control. They're working with us, and we are redoing their parking lot, which if you saw the aerial in previous slides, you can see it's a kind of a goofy parking lot. Mm-hmm. You also have to keep in mind the existing mall itself is an old school mall where it's a 2-story mall. Mm-hmm. So the existing Macy's, you enter on the second floor, yeah. Right? The Elevate, they enter on the first floor. So there's a natural not natural, but a 12-foot elevation difference that we have to design around and make work. So on the north side, we're going to have some retaining wall and a slope and landscaping that breaks down, and completely redoing the Elevate parking lot, which is also a sea of parking, where we're adding green space and islands in that parking lot and improving that. So, Costco is the first bite of the apple, where it's going to, like staff said, set the tone for the project going forward, but we need to get the Costco going, set this up, and then move on to other phases, which will happen in the future.
Can we see that? Like, does it, because it's kind of weird when, from what I'm picturing the parking lot look like now.
Now
The facade of it, it's like, how are you going to do that? And then can you show me where the retaining wall will be?
So go back a few. So I don't have a.
Yes, that's the green thing.
Press the green thing. Okay. So this right here is the Elevate parking lot. So from this being the second floor, everything slopes down, slopes down, slopes down. And then once it gets here, there's also grade down. There's inlets right here by the front door. So everything, all the water is kind of coming down. There's a bit of a good elevation change here. I can't remember if there's a wall here or not, but it's all coming down, and this is all low. This is also no islands. I think, what is that, like 20, 30, probably 30 spaces in a row, no landscape islands. So the Costco squares that off. So that's going to square off right there, and our building's going to sit right here, basically, okay? So same thing with the rest of the parking lot here. This is, they do have the 10-foot every 4, but then there's no islands in between, and it's just a sea of parking lot.
Right.
I believe the Macy's total square footage, I have this in a slide, but since we're talking about it, it's like 157,000 square feet, 1,700 parking spaces serving that Macy's. And the Costco is asking, coming in for, I think it's around 160,000 square feet, plus or minus, don't quote me on that exactly, and 840 parking spaces. So it's a significant change from what's there now, and we're incorporating about 20,000 square feet more of green space. So
Will that allow you to get the 850 that is required?
we're going to be a little short of the 850. We're going to be, I think we're around 840. I have it in a different slide, but we're close to it. We're within the realm of that, and I can give you some more details on that. So let me get back to where I was. So this is just kind of continuation. So we have the FPL easements that kind of dictate where the building can be. The cross access is going to be here in the future. We also have the ring road going all the way around, right? So the internal ring road. And right here, there's landscape between us and the public right of way. So this is a private ring road. We can't change that. Gas only fits here. So incorporating the back of house against I-4, which is an ideal location. It's not going to be seen, customer experience. We have the tire center here. I think you're all familiar with Costco as far as the tire center use goes. The main entry point is here. And then we're adding in pedestrian connections where none exist. And this is just going down, collecting in the parking lot. Here we have going out to the public right of way. We're going to extend up for future phases to connect. And we're going to extend out across in future phases. And that's working with staff because they are very important to staff and to Costco as well. So we're extending those up. We do have sidewalks that do run along this frontage of the building here. So everywhere in blue, that's where we're going to be proposing the sidewalk to connect with future phases, connect with the public right of way, and it's what Costco needs for their customers.
Very nice.
So the next few slides, I am getting into more kind of nuts and bolts of the specific deviations. So
okay, can you go back to the one that had the blue lines?
Yes.
Then? Okay, because here and here is where I would think it'd be the natural place to do some landscaping along those sidewalks.
There's addition. We're going to have enough room to add some landscaping in there. I believe it's like kind of undulating sidewalk. So we're going to have some green space. It's not going to be all sidewalk. It's going to be, you're going to have the islands with trees. What you have to also keep in mind, Mayor, is that underneath of the FPL easements, it's
Mhm.
a very wide easements. We can't put trees there. So when we're designing the parking lot, we're designing around the FPL easements and the power poles, the right tree, right place. So we are asking for, you know, a maximum of 20, average of 15 for the number of parking island or parking spaces in a row, because we have to work under these easements. So we have island located just outside of these easements. So if I go forward.
Okay, but there is some intent to put landscaping along those sidewalks.
We want to
through
put
the parking lot.
landscaping everywhere we can.
Okay.
While hitting the parking that we need to serve the Costco.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, just visually looking at it, I think you're probably about the same total square footage with your end caps that you are with the lanes.
We have it
So
worked in.
I think that's okay.
Along the, you know, the building, the fuel, where we're adding and how we're modifying, we're working in the landscape the best that we can while balancing the code requirement and what Costco needs for their store to operate. Like, they're a pretty well-tuned machine, and the store operators, the managers, they know how these operate, and the Costco design manual is about this thick, okay? So in this specific one, every 4, we meet it all underneath the easements in this code compliant area. We have it here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, there would have to be one here, and then there's an island here, so 1, 2, 3, there would have to be one here. So that's the only 2 spaces that we're asking for a deviation from that. And that's also kind of a Costco unique thing, that when customers come out and they're pushing their dolly of, you know, toilet paper and a flat screen TV, they come out and sometimes they come down, but if they miss that drive aisle, we don't want them wheeling back around. So we see it more of a customer safety, where we want them to be able to go from this road over. All Costco standard parking spaces are 10 by 20. So we want people with large cars, trucks to be able to pull in and still be able to load their vehicle safely. Minimum grades, this is a kind of a ticky-tacky thing from a design civil engineering perspective, but you know, max slopes of 2% in all the parking areas, because we don't want runaway carts. Just like we want the ability for the customer to be able to push their shopping cart between drive aisles. And if we put that there, it would block it. This makes great sense right here, because we actually have the transmission pole powers right here, so we kind of ran that down. And customers here, they're going to be able to come out, and then they're going to cross right here, because this is all underneath of the canopy, and then boom, they come out, and they can either come down to the sidewalk and then break off here, or they come off and they break off here. So where we added it was very strategic in the fact that it allows us to get pedestrians in and out of the store and in and out of the property, while slowing down or putting a customer in a cart in a place where they can't get to. So this one deviation is really, it's just for these two areas. I kind of highlighted the code compliant areas. And if we were to comply with it, we would lose the parking and we would fall under what Costco needs to operate. And unfortunately, with the site constraints that I laid out before, I can't move the building north anymore into the Elevate. I can't move the ring road. This is the one spot that Costco can fit. It's the one spot that the gas station can fit. It's the one spot. I think I got the concept Z, A, B, C. I did so many, right? So this is one deviation for the parking. The next one is the parking islands every 10 spaces, which I kind of broke it down. Now, we're not asking for each pod and staff to review each pod of parking. I try to split it up and provide you average counts in areas so you can see on average where we're complying and where we're not and how it breaks out. For example, the southeast parking lot, this is all with the transmission easements. We're moving it down, we're extending it down. So this is an average of 12 in this area, average of 11, and up here we're meeting it. We're moving these islands on the north down, that way we have 10 in a row. So we're trying to meet it everywhere we can. We do have 20 in a row along the perimeter, but we're also going to have the landscape buffer along the south and along the ring road, where that's going to be heavily landscaped as well. So it's strategic in the places where we're going to the max of 20, but overall, we're going to be well under the average of 15. And the 15 is just a number. I mean, we could do the average of, 13, 12, whatever it is, because this is the plan that we want to ultimately design, but we want the flexibility that when we go to staff for the final construction plans, that they can work with us and with your final ruling. So,
Okay, let me make sure I understand that. So the 20 is the upper limit just in case. How you have it designed now is less than 15.
Yeah, so
Okay.
upper limit of 20, but on average, like if we set an average for the parking lot, and this is only for phase 1. We don't want this to carry over to the future phases. We want this to be Costco specific because Costco is a very unique retailer and they operate a little bit differently. And we have certain site constraints here to put the Costco here. So specific deviation, trying to make it as specific as possible and make it as specific to this phase as possible. So again, I'm just trying to give you all the information. That way you guys can make your ruling. That's the second. This is the third one, kind of related to parking, which I think this is kind of a technicality and kind of a common sense. So if you read, we fall into a retail large good, which is definitions right there straight from the code. Selling goods that require a large amount of display area and which often delivered to the consumer after the time of purchasing, including but not limited to appliances, furniture, building, home improvement. This is, to me, furniture stores, a Rooms to Go, a Lowe's, a Home Depot, something like that. Maybe it's a tile, floor and decor, something like that. So we're really just pointing out that we feel like we really are retail good establishments because definition says it all. Commercial establishments that serve both the day-to-day, more durable needs of the community, including but not limited to supermarkets, bakeries, drugstores, florists, gift and specialty stores, optical supplies, pet shops, discount stores, books and stationery, meats, seafood, toy stores, jewelry. You can buy every one of those items.
So you just put all of those into one shop.
You can, and my receipt at Costco reflects that every month. So the numbers, though, if you look at it, retail large goods, and this is the maximum parking. So code says that you're only allowed a maximum of 25% over code minimum. So retail large goods, it's 611. General retail, we would be allowed 1,019 spaces max. We're 844. So the request that we're asking for, if you fit us into the definition that staff deems appropriate for the Costco use, which I disagree with, but that's not my place, is we're 40% above code, which I believe administrative official per the code can support up to 50%. But this one, I think, is for you probably the easiest one to digest. That's my whole spiel on the parking and the site-related items as far as the site layout. And hopefully you understand how we got to the point of the site looking like it does,
I do.
why it does, and what we're asking for is the bare minimum to get the Costco here because we're boxed in with the Elevate, we're boxed in with the ring road and the easements, and we're just asking for the flexibility to bring this Costco to your community. So if you have any more technical questions or anything site-related, but again, Becky can come back up, JP's here, architectural, Carolyn's here from NG2. So anything you have, please let us know.
Do you have a view from the Elevate parking lot?
A view from the Elevate parking lot.
Because we have an elevation, but it doesn't actually show what it's going to look like because there's a landscape buffer on the other side of the road.
I don't think
Now
we
explain
have
why
that
I'm asking
in
that.
the PowerPoint slide. I believe that Carolyn did create that.
And the reason I'm asking it, the one side of the building that has landscaping along the building is the side against I-4 in the back. The side that faces what will remain of the mall is looks like it's a blank wall, except there is a landscape buffer between the parking lot and the building.
Mayor, you'll see we took the site plan and had it rendered. So the top is obviously what the view from the Elevate parking is currently. And then below you see the additional landscape, along with the additional landscape that will have to be added into Elevate's existing parking area.
Okay, so, and is there, where it says there's a retaining wall, is there an elevation change from the parking lot to the, I guess this is a road that goes around the building?
There is. So the back of the Costco building has the 30-foot road or driveway immediately behind the building. Then
When you say behind the building, or?
the north side of the building, yeah.
Right.
That's it.
So this is landscaped. There's,
Yep. So Costco building slopes 2% away from the building curb, and then it has, I believe, a 4-to-1 grade, and then certain points along there will be a retaining wall along that landscape buffer.
And Eddie, just for clarity, we didn't choose to push the landscape in this location. That's also under an easement, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So that was part of what was driving this amount of landscaping.
So essentially from the Elevate parking lot, I don't really see the whole building. I would see the building behind trees.
You're going to see a lot of trees now in the Elevate parking lot, whereas there was none in the middle of the parking lot. Now there's going to be quite a bit, and I believe we have a colored landscape plan that kind of zoomed that out and showed it a little bit more.
Wait, go back. Wait.
Hang on, I'm sorry. There, that doesn't show well, it shows some of their improvement. It's not colored, but there's going to be all islands vertical instead of it being angled like it was. You can see in the background how it's angled. There's going to be island, island, island in each of these rows here.
Okay, can you go to the north elevation drawing?
The building elevation?
Yeah, the building elevation. Oh, there we go. Okay. So,
North elevation.
looking at this, my concern is that's what I see from the mall. What you're telling me is between that and the parking lot, there is a well-landscaped buffer.
There is.
That negates the need for foundation planting.
All the landscaping that could be in the 5-foot could be pushed into that buffer and that grade back there.
Okay.
Are you saying that's what we see from I-4?
No. What we see from I-4 has plants.
Okay, what part are you talking about?
This is from I-4, right?
Mhm.
Okay. This, when I first looked at this, I'm like, that's the view from Elevate, from the mall, which is a blank wall.
That's the view.
But
That's elevation here.
That's here.
So it looks blank, but we're going to have
But there's a
trees.
landscape buffer there, which it's 5 feet.
It's
I thought it
more
said
than
10
5
feet.
I think it's like 10. It's at least 10. I don't have the exact dimension, but it's at least 10, I want to say.
It says 10 on the plans.
Yeah.
Okay. And a
And
10-foot buffer is big enough for trees. Isn't that?
And these are all proposed islands. These that show up in really dark. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's an end cap there that's all being added. So you're going to end up with quite a bit of trees in the Elevate parking lot where
Right.
there was none.
Why do we need trees close to the building when you're gonna have them in the parking lot?
That's where that's what I was clarifying.
Okay.
That I won't see the blank wall because there is 20 feet away a row of landscaping.
Okay.
So that wall, I think, to me, is okay. And there's, but do the elevations for the south and east, do they depict what the landscaping really look like along the building?
No, the intent of those were to be, in fact, elevations for your staff to review to compare our actual elevations to the code. You can see in some places we put in some trees or shadowed in some trees. But if you're looking for, where the green areas are located, I think this is probably the best view.
She also just showed us the before and after right over there. What you were able to see that like 3D look of the trees and the islands in the parking lot from what she just presented.
You're correct, Commissioner. So that was showing the trees that'll be parked in that buffer along with the trees in the landscape islands.
Okay, but one of the deviations is not a continuous landscape along the building, correct?
They're removing the requirement for foundation landscaping around the building.
Okay, so what I want is a better idea of what's actually proposed
Okay. So
there, which I don't know if we have tonight, but I mean, we can make a condition that it works out with staff during final engineering.
So you still have a
Or-
second reading?
Or,
Yeah,
if we can bring a picture and give me a
Yeah,
better idea
sure.
of what it'll look like.
We do have a second reading. What I want to make sure I leave here and understand so we can bring it back in February. Your question is specific about foundation plantings
Yes.
against the building. Okay. And so we're never required to have foundation plantings on the rear.
Well, you're saying that you don't have so part of this request is to have signage, and you declared before that there was no side of the building that wasn't really frontage. So as the mayor has been asking, it's a primary view coming from the rest of the center.
But we
especially
didn't
from
ask for a
elevation.
deviation.
Right, but there's no landscaping on that side at all.
There's a
So-
landscape buffer. We will bring back
Right.
at the second reading a very clear visual to show you how we have mitigated for plantings adjacent to the foundation.
Okay.
And some
And
of that.
specifically
Right.
the two parking lot sides, because I'm pretty okay with the elevate side, because you've explained that with the,
Okay,
so it's the other two
All right.
sides that will be the visual that you get as you're coming to the store.
correct. Yeah, we'll be happy to bring those.
Right, any other questions?
Not for them. I guess my question is for Eileen, because I want to make sure, when we get ready to do the motion, are we including the sign variance,
Yeah, it's a condition. There's
Okay.
a condition in those 8 conditions that
Okay.
gives, basically all it's doing is expanding their ability to work with staff on a comprehensive sign program to a greater amount of signage.
okay, so in that motion, it talks about the 3, deviations and also the signage as well. I just want to make sure.
The 3 deviations are not specifically discussed, they're part of their master plan.
Okay.
So they're on the master plan as they're requesting it deviated. Now, I would recommend before second reading, the information that was approved at planning and zoning was based on an email that we received. If they're gonna provide to the commission what their landscaping looks like, we really need a revised master plan sheet showing what was in the email that did relocate those landscaping islands that they were talking about, because whatever's in the master plan is what we're gonna move forward on. And some of it has been adjusted based on where they're shifting things. So they need to revise that and bring that back to you for second reading so that the correct master plan can be approved.
Okay, but does that hold them back from anything? I want to make sure that we're
You
being
can approve it on
very
first
flexible.
reading, subject to them understanding what you want to see by second reading.
Okay,
So, as long as you're okay with the parking space counts and the landscaping, and if there's any other conditions you want to add,
and
or any additional information you want before second reading, make sure that you make that clear in whatever you declare.
and so the signage I wouldn't need to, whoever's going to make the motion, we need to declare that or no?
No, that's one of the 8 conditions. So if you say, like the recommendation that's before you has 8 conditions, one of those has the signage in it. It's condition, I'll find it. Okay, so condition number 5 talks about a comprehensive sign program.
Okay, but in our motion, it doesn't.
Your motion, go back to the recommendation itself. It has 8 conditions in it.
Okay,
Those 8 conditions include one for that signage.
got it, but,
So when you make a motion subject to staff's recommendation, that's part of it. So those 1,000 square feet will give us the opportunity to work with them for a greater amount of signage, however they allocate it on the building.
I just want to make sure that we're including everything that
Right, and I do too.
they're asking for.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So, but if there's any additional information, as the mayor has requested some information, if there's additional information you feel you need to make sure that that's clear on first reading, so they know what to bring back to you to get a positive approval on second reading.
And Mary, you're asking for,
I'm just asking for more details of the foundation plantings on the 2 sides facing the front parking lots. But now I'm confused on, you said they need a
Okay, so.
different master plan.
No, they modified a couple of the landscape islands on the master plan. They showed that in
Okay.
their presentation. It was done before P&Z, and now it's been shown to you.
Okay.
I don't have an actual plan submitted to their application on CitizenServe, so whatever modifications they made to that master plan
Okay.
needs to be clear for second reading.
All right. Y'all are good with that? Okay. All right, I did have another request to speak from David Goldberg.
Hello. My name is David Goldfarb. I own Elevate Fund, and I just want to say that we 100% support Costco coming to the city. I believe you guys should as well. And if you have any questions, we're here to cooperate as we can.
Okay,
thank you.
good, thank you.
It's great to hear.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone else from the audience wish to speak to this item? Okay, did the applicant have anything else to add? Staff, do you have anything else to add? I'll close the public hearing, bring it to commission for action.
Move to approve.
Do we need to say subject to the, do we need to add subject to the staff's recommendations and, one condition of more details of the foundation, planting on the 2 exterior sides of the building?
Yes, I would add that to the motion so that it's clear what is being brought before the commission again on that second reading.
Okay,
And-
so second,
Updated master plan.
and updated master plan.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
Thank you all so much. I know I'm looking forward to it.
That brings us preliminary subdivision plan for 1700 Low Avenue.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, city staff recommends that the City Commission approve the major subdivision plan to the establishment of a 42-unit, single-family townhome community in a planned development zoning district at the project address of 1700 Low Avenue, based on consistency with the goals, objectives, and policies of the city's comprehensive plan and all associated zoning requirements.
This is not actually a public hearing. It's only a regular item, but it landed on the public hearing. So I don't know what you want to do with that information,
Okay.
but it's just a regular
So
item.
did you have a presentation?
I do not.
Is the applicant here and want to make a presentation? Is there anyone from the audience that wishes to speak on this item? Close
It's a
the.
statutory requirement to make sure that the commission approves the preliminary subdivision.
All right, so I'll close the public hearing since it's in the public hearing section and bring it to commission for action.
I have nothing to disclose, move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Brings us citizen participation. First is Patty Mahaney.
Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. So, I was back there having a little nap. I gotta wake up a little bit. So I came to talk to you. Got just a little bit of a problem, and before I start into my problem, I wanna be very, very clear. This is in no way, shape, or form a criticism of the city. or city staff in any way whatsoever. You all are familiar with the fact that there is a club from South Florida that's been putting on 2 cat shows a year. They put on a cat show the first weekend in December, and they put on a cat show the very last weekend, first weekend in January, which is this coming weekend. They have been doing it since 2019. And of course, at that time, I was a city commissioner, and I was kind of their liaison. I got involved, you know, and in absolute full disclosure, we all know that I have on and off showed a cat. And so the city has always been marvelous to work with, but when we first started in 2019, you know, we were just very, very blessed with a cost to rent the Civic Center for $2,000. That was for 3 days. The city gave us a great deal. They gave everybody a great deal. A couple of years later, costs did go up to $3,400, and that was still manageable. Unfortunately, and it hit us because of the fact that we have a routine day every year. Our current cost this year to produce these cat shows, each one, has gone from $2,000 to $4,600, and that is with a 501c3 price discount. So, the deal with the cat show is I've always felt like it was a tremendous benefit to Sanford because it doesn't just attract local residents, local Seminole County residents. People come from all over the country. People come from overseas. We have a woman who flies in from China. We have a woman who flies in from Toronto. We have several who fly in from Seattle. We have them all up and down the eastern seaboard. Out west, they come in. They use our hotels. They use our restaurants. They use our shops. Everybody that comes to a cat show has somebody with them, like a husband or a significant other, who does not want to sit there all day, who goes out and uses the bars, quite frankly, the pubs, the restaurants. And, you know, it's brought a lot of good things to our city. It's also a very family-friendly event. Problem is, cat shows aren't for profit. Not trying to make any money, just trying to break even. Cat shows make their money basically 2 ways: entry fees per cat and spectators. So the Cat Club of the Palm Beaches just cannot quite make it. And so Lisa was kind enough to come over at the December show and sit down and have a long talk with the show manager, Michelle Luque, and go through all the prices and why the prices. And like I said, this Civic Center and this staff bends over backwards for us. So I just want to make sure everybody understands how much this group loves to be in Sanford. Bottom line is, you know, a couple of years ago, when I was a city commissioner, and I hate when people say that, when I was a city commissioner, some of my economic development discretionary funds we used to put into the cat show. I'm not there anymore. Commissioner Claudia Thomas is very supportive of the shows, very supportive of the people, very supportive of, you know, the fact that these organizations also bring in rescue. They're bringing in the public like crazy. You know, a lot of catering to kids activities, educational rings where the kids get to handle, touch the cats, learn about animal care. And Commissioner Thomas is quite supportive. And she said, Patty, I will commit $500. And I said, that's awesome, and I'm most grateful. What I'm wondering is, what they really need to break even is about $1,000 to $1,200. Would the rest of you all consider doing $200? Yeah.
Well, that doesn't equal 1,200, so I'll do 300.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, look at that.
Well, I'm glad I went last.
So I didn't have time to get into the discussion of why we haven't still had Commissioner Britton picking out a paint color for this room.
Okay, sorry, your time's up.
Bye.
Yeah, right.
But you didn't
Have a
say.
good night. Good to see you.
So, So that means you need another 200?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I took the
You know,
heat for you.
there's an economic development thing. I mean, I've been there and talked to all the people. There's definitely economic benefit.
He's more than been there.
So
He's had
I'll
to-
do the other 200.
He's had to
So
choose his
somebody want to make a
favorite cat.
motion for 200, 300, and 200
Yes,
So moved.
for a
second.
public purpose?
For a public purpose, second.
And Commissioner Thomas, when she gets back, will make a motion for hers, and then we just submit the bill.
I just
all
heard
at
her
once.
say 1,000. I think that's what I heard her say.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Thank you so much, and I want to say, just from sitting on the other side, y'all are doing a great job. Can't wait to have Costco as my neighbor.
Next,
you.
Wendy Wagner.
This is so I don't go way off and talk for 20 minutes and ignore the buzzer. I'm Wendy Wagner, 310 Magnolia Avenue in the Historic District. And I am here to ask for your help. I have been trying for 16 months to get a permit approved for a shed in my backyard. I got through the HPB. We had a few little issues because I applied for my fence and my shed at the same time. Fence got approved, shed sort of got forgotten, and I had to reapply for it, and that's fine. But I have been with permitting now since June of 2025. The person assigned to my shed no longer will respond. They don't respond in the portal. They don't respond via phone. I just want a shed. I'm paying $467 a month for storage.
Oh.
I just really want a shed. So I'm happy to do whatever is needed on my part as far as making it compliant, making it work, but I just really want the shed.
So when we talked about this last September, you
Yeah.
said you had gone to you were getting your engineer to do a state certified letter, so you didn't have to go through our permitting?
Yes, and then, so Tom Mearsola, not my engineer, he is the person who has been helping me. He is also a firefighter in a different part of Seminole County, and he is on duty tonight, so he couldn't be here. They would not allow the state certified letter to negate the need for the permit.
Okay, so do we have the complete, accurate plans?
Yes, and I also have them right here. In a very small form.
Because I know there were some issues with, it was supposed to be engineered truss, but you were going to build the trusses on site.
Mhm.
There were things written on the plans that you weren't actually going to do. All that's been cleared up?
So some of the things on the plans, so, there's a legend down the side of a set of plans. I'm sure you have all seen a set of plans. Things on that legend were asked to be removed because they're not actually in the shed. However, there are still a ton of things on the legend that aren't in the shed, but they weren't a problem. Like fans weren't a problem. Hot water heater was a problem.
Right.
Things like that. So there's still things on the legend that aren't in the shed. It's just a general legend that shows, there's no chandelier in the shed, but that's still on the legend.
Okay. All right. Ms. Bonaparte, can you get with staff and see
Certainly.
where this is? Because I know it.
I'll get with Mr. Ramondo and with the building staff and see.
And then I will follow up with Mr. Armando also.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. And Victoria Huggins.
Victoria Huggins, 2493 Orange Avenue. I have two issues. On December 8th, I printed out an issue that I requested on October 31st. I submitted a public record through CitizenServe, reference WO15095-102325, asking for documentation on the consulting fees paid to the city for 2023, 2024, 2025. I read all of this at the December 8th meeting. I gave you a copy of the email. Their response on October 23rd asked, why can't we be told what's being spent in consulting fees? I've given examples. Every meeting, I hear you guys spending or approving consulting fees, and still no one's responded, Mr. Bonaparte. Now it's almost 3 months. Why can't the city respond and give that information out?
I would have to get with the clerk's office, the records clerk, to find out what the response was being and why it's taking so long to respond to you.
But they responded, no information. I did email back and respond with detail what I was asking for. It was ignored. I gave all that information to every single one of you December 8th, and no one's replied.
I will get with the clerk's office and find out and get
Okay.
back to you.
Now, moving on to my passion, Art, I have to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I wish I had people to stand up and clap. I asked everyone to take a golf cart ride with me regarding the golf cart community, and Art responded. I believe it was on December 22nd. I took him on an hour-and-a-half ride through the entire golf cart zone. I showed him the state that the only golf cart path we have is at Bay Park. It was in desperate need. Within 48 hours, Art, it's amazing. It looks beautiful.
That's them over there. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It is amazing. Now, the problems I brought up was registration. Guys, can we form a committee, something where we can get it together and know what we're doing? 2 years in a row. Registration for golf carts is January 1st to January 31st. You know your golf carters follow the rules. They're going to be here ready to register the day you open in January. 2 years in a row. The stickers did not arrive on time. I will help you order them in September, so they get here in November, and we have our stuff together and we're ready to roll the first week of January. That's just embarrassing. We know it happens every year. And are we looking into a mobile app and doing it online? Our surrounding golf cart communities now have it all online. That will save the police and your city workers a lot of time and energy.
Well, I like, because somebody posted about, I think, Deltona doing it online.
Yes.
On Deltona, you have to create a citizen serve account, fill it out, wait for them to call you to come to City Hall to pick up your permit. So it's not that much better. I mean,
Yeah,
other
but
than
the stickers
fill
are
out
there.
Yeah. So, and I don't know where we are. I've asked that the maps be placed on the, not on the website, on the city's app.
On the city's app,
So
okay.
I don't know what the status of that is yet.
And I also asked Police Chief Smith, and he forwarded it to 2 other officers to go on a ride, and still no comment. And Claudia did reply that she would get back with me in January. I'll send her another reminder. And anyone else who would like to take a ride, because we need to fix Mellonville. We need to get it opened to where we can take our children or our family to the ballparks legally. There's no reason Mellonville shouldn't be back on the market, back in the zone. It's 25 miles an hour. It's just as wide, just as safe as Sanford, Park, Oak, or Elm.
Okay, so to let you know, I have talked to the police chief about some possible changes, not as broad as you were requesting, but
baby steps. I'm patient.
We're looking at some options that might be possible, and in terms of the signage, we're replacing the signage on roads that you're not supposed to drive on with signs that say golf carts crossing rather than golf carts sharing.
Okey-doke. Thank you.
So I've already done the golf cart. My name wasn't mentioned, but I already did the golf cart tour.
Yes,
a
she
long
did the
time
first
ago.
golf cart ride.
And I spoke to, SPD regarding the matter, and, I had complaints from residents other than just those from the golf cart gurus about the, about getting their permits and how long it took. And that information has been given to the city manager a long time ago, so that's where District 1 is with it.
And there is a golf cart final registration event coming up Saturday? Is that correct? Okay. And it's 9 to 1? 9 to 1, and where is it going to be? At City Hall. Okay. We'll find it. Okay. All right, anyone else from the audience wish to speak to the commission? Okay, you step forward, please.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Commissioners. My name is Wes Schaefer. My address is 128 Cape Honeysuckle Place. I spoke about 6 months ago. I'm actually celebrating, the 6-month anniversary birthday of my daughter yesterday. And 6 months ago, I spoke a little bit about the 287G agreement that City of Sanford entered into with DHS. And tonight, I'd like to speak about a few experiences I've had since moving to Sanford. When my son Ari was 8 months old, we had just had dinner on Sanford Ave at Zuccolo. It was raining, and I was trying to figure out how to take apart this carriage, basically, to fit it in the car. And I'm getting rained on. I'm having trouble with it. And this very tall City of Sanford police officer walked over with an umbrella, hands me the umbrella, in 2 seconds, flips the thing, folds it, throws it in the car, I hand him back the umbrella. He says, "Have a great evening." He saved my life in that moment. About 4 months earlier, our car had been stolen outside at the front of our house. And a young police female officer came to take our information. She made us feel very comfortable and safe in that moment of crazy grief. I was feeding Ari. He's literally 2 months old. I look out the window, the car is gone. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But she came to our rescue. Actually, after my last visit here, I mistakenly left my wallet in the back, and a young female police officer came to our door. "Are you missing this?" "Yes, ma'am." "Do you have a pocket for this?" "Yes, ma'am." It gave me some back and forth, but it was fun. And it just spoke to what I think is beautiful about our police. And I recognize that I likely have some privilege in a lot of these engagements with police officers, but I find that they're there to serve and protect me. And for that, I'm grateful and very appreciative. And part of my motivation for speaking about this 287G agreement is that I think that sense of community trust and advocacy and accountability is threatened by this agreement. I'm still searching for answers exactly how this is unfolding in our community, exactly how we're exercising this agreement. I've been, even in the last 6 months, trying to research, continuing to call the police, continuing to investigate this. And I'm seeing signs that some of the things that I'm fearing, like the chilling effect of this agreement, is coming to light in our community. Even recently, there's been reports that our local school system, Orange County in particular, reported lower attendance in their schools, and they're pointing to some of the ICE enforcement as a deterrent of kids going to school. And I think that all that we've worked on since 2016 around community policing, we must protect that. We must work to keep that as a focus. And so my request this evening is, and I just ran out of the house, put my kids to bed, and so I'm a little bit all over the place. But my main request is not to necessarily remove ourselves from the agreement entirely. But I think in an effort of trust and accountability, we should pause the agreement for 120 days search for some answers. How might this impact our community policing strategy? What restorative policies might we need to wrap around this to ensure the integrity of that community policing policy? And to the extent possible or practicable, is this something that makes sense for our community moving forward? So I'm not looking to get in hot water with the attorneys general. I'm not looking to even end the agreement, but pause it and let's answer some really important questions I think that need to be asked and answered and researched about the chilling effect or the potential liability. We see that, I think there are reasonable accounts and confirmation that Fourth Amendment violations are happening under the exercise of DHS. And that's not even just an ambiguous question. That's policy that's been revealed in recent memos. These are really important protections, I think, not only for our community policing, but for our safety, our sense of freedom. And that is my request. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I ask something? Have you actually met with Chief Smith and talked to him about this?
I have not met with Chief Smith. I did send an email, and I've been to the police department on 2 occasions, as well as called on a few occasions. All the folks that I've spoke with at the police department have been super helpful, very gracious with their time. They've not been able to answer all my questions. I wouldn't expect them necessarily to do so.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have legal counsel that advises the police department on how they should handle this situation. And then we have a police chief that decides how that's going to be done. And yes, we did vote to be a part of what we were asked to do, but the decision maker is perhaps who you need to be talking to about what we're even doing, if we're doing anything.
Right.
Okay? Because I think you're going to find out we're not doing as much as you're afraid we might be.
No, yeah.
And
Sorry.
the same with our legal counsel, or their legal counsel. She's open to discussing the same thing with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
And so I think you might find out that this really isn't something that Sanford PD is at the top of their list, in the middle of their list, the bottom third of their list.
Right.
Okay? They have real life issues here that they're taking care of, as well as assisting the community like they've done for you. So I'd like for you to meet with either the police chief or the deputy police chief, have a conversation with their legal advisor, and maybe get a better idea where we're at. If I'm wrong, and when your fears are not relieved, then come back to us and let us know.
Yes, sir.
That my perception and maybe my cohort's perception is wrong, okay?
Yes, sir. I think that's very constructive.
Is that good?
I appreciate
I don't
that.
want you to keep coming back down here.
I know my
away
wife
from the
doesn't even know
family.
I'm here unless she's watching right now. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just snuck
Well,
right out when I
thank
heard
you
the-
for letting them out of the house. I'm sending them home.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you for that. Yeah. No, I think that's very constructive. And
I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. What you see on social media, what you see on the news, is not necessarily what's happening in Central Florida. I work for an agency in Orange County. That might be an excuse they're using, but they got a whole lot of other problems over there. Getting kids to school. Not just that.
Right.
Okay? They're talking about closing down schools because of reduced enrollment. That's not because of this matter. That's because of a whole bunch of reasons.
Right,
Okay?
absolutely, yeah.
And that's not my problem. Okay? But so there's big picture, and then there's little snippets we get. And so I think sometimes we need to be careful where we're getting the snippets from and what we're perceiving from them. So if I'm wrong, come back here after you talk to these fine folks and say, Commissioner Austin, you're crazy. I need you to do something. And she'll beat me up and we'll do it, okay?
I mean, even if you're absolutely right, you're still crazy.
I'm crazy for being up here for 27 years.
I
or
appreciate
10?
that. I think that's very constructive, and I absolutely would be honored to speak with the folks you mentioned, yeah.
I think it might alleviate some of your fears, but it may be wrong, and that's okay. And you come back and tell me I'm wrong, and I hear that a lot, especially from this guy, my old high school teacher.
Oh, wow.
We do appreciate you for bringing this to our attention and for you being a concerned citizen.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, your audience, and
Thank
your
you for your heart.
suggestions. Appreciate you.
Anyone else in the audience wish to, Chief, are you going to get with them?
Nope.
Anyone else in the audience wish to speak to the commission? Then we will move on to procurement to Ovation Construction.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, staff is requesting your approval for procurement to Public Works Operations Building to Ovation Construction not to exceed $6,462,902.53.
Move to,
Questions or motion?
move to approve.
Second.
Motion second, any further discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. I want to ask, and I didn't want to do this earlier, Eileen. I want to ask, with design and completion of this project, are we going to adhere to the same standards that we're holding other developments in this city to? Because I don't believe the Public Works Bill in 1792 that was just completed has met the same requirements. And I don't think that is the best way we should be doing business.
You want to give her some time? Like, at the next meeting? Because that's like right off the, okay.
Well, if we're exempt from those requirements, I want that on the record. I want residents and business owners to know that.
We're
Okay.
not- Okay, we're not
First-
exempt from those unless the commission exempts us from those.
Okay. Well, I know that project didn't come to us, so we didn't exempt it, right?
Correct. The one that's on 1792?
Right.
They built on the existing footprint.
I know, but we recently had a business on Park Avenue that was reopening a long-standing empty property that we fought tooth and nail over: impervious surface, plant requirement, grass requirement, yada, yada, yada. I don't see that same quality on that 1792 site, just personally.
When those plans are presented to the planning department through appropriate processes for application, we hold them to the same standards.
Okay, again, like I'm saying, I don't see the same end result, even from the code enforcement battle we had at 25th Street. That property now looks better than our own city properties. That, in my opinion, is wrong. If we are going to hold private development and investors in our city feet to the fire and make them spend a ton of money on trees and bushes and grass, etc., I expect the same from the city, or else we need to change our code. And that's just my opinion.
All projects for the city do come before the commission for budgeting and for approval. So, you have the opportunity to require more. When they are applied through the planning department, we hold them to the same standard.
So they're not always applied?
Correct. This was a building that went on the building footprint.
Okay.
They did not apply for site work.
Okay, I still think that's wrong.
I think this is a bigger discussion than tonight.
And you do,
And
yeah, there are some exemptions that the city commission has approved for recreation and parks, which was done a few months ago. There is one that's coming before you. I don't know if it's on tonight or if we've already done it, but the Public Works Department is looking to build some cover structures over some of their equipment. And if they're unoccupied and not offices and not business space, there's a resolution that's coming before you to exempt those from planning requirements. But unless they're specifically required by this commission to not meet standards, they should be meeting standards.
So I think the question is, what is the process when we build stuff?
Okay.
And, because I was thinking in my head, oh, well, it's a different change in use, or it's a different application, or it's a different, and then you said something else. So,
In some cases it is, some
right.
cases, but in certain cases it's just we're rebuilding a building, or some of them are not occupied space. But unless this commission doesn't approve it or has given them an exemption, they should be meeting standards.
okay, so we need to look at what is the process we follow when we build something.
Well,
Well, we don't want to spend a lot of time on this tonight.
We did for the golf course and all of that. They came through planning, and everybody in planning reviewed the parking lots and all of that. So certain buildings have come through planning, and we've applied our standards.
Well, I just want this on the record tonight. This is something that is constantly missed, not so much here, but through other boards and other things that I've participated in. The perception is what matters. Nobody takes the time to learn the rules or the procedures. They only see their perception. And so the perception is that we are putting out products of our own that are not being held to the same standard as other people's products. It doesn't matter if that's right or wrong. It doesn't matter if we have a reason.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong.
Well, but really it doesn't, because perception is all that really matters,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I would like to, rather than having a ad hoc discussion about it now, where we're not going to have all the information we need,
well,
talk about this on a work session.
I know you're chomping at the bit to go to Tallahassee, but
I'm chomping at the bit not to sit here and have a discussion that's not going to get us to a resolution.
well, we have a lot of those discussions, so that this is my opportunity to speak. The perception is that we do not follow the same rules or aren't held to the same rules. We're not going to make enough Facebook posts. We're not going to have enough meetings.
I would like to have the discussion when Public Works Utilities Director can also participate in the conversation.
Yeah, because there are some federal requirements that trump our own. For example, parks touch our right-of-way, that's considered right-of-way.
Okay.
LDR doesn't apply.
Okay.
Some of those park nuances.
We're not talking about a park.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. FAA has requirements, no wet ponds, no
Right.
wildlife, no surface, that.
Right.
And then we also have Homeland Security requirements for plants and utility plants where they have to have barbed wire security above and beyond, which is not allowed in the LDR. So there are some nuances.
Okay.
For some of these ancillary.
This is just a repurposed fire station now made an office with some storage?
Again,
This is Public Works.
That's my statement. We're talking about another public works project. I want this project to look like we've followed our standards that we make all these other projects in this city follow. Okay? And it doesn't matter if the rules are different for us. It's the perception that the rules should not be different for us. And maybe we can have this discussion, a work session, whatever.
Okay. So Commissioner staff has heard what you said. Okay.
Thank y'all. I'm so glad I'm not the only passionate one up here tonight.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Resolution 3455.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, staff is requesting Commission approval of Resolution 3455, the procurement and award of concrete repairs at the downtown Sanford Marina all-terrain tractor service in the amount of $269,044.46.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Resolution 3456.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, city staff is requesting Commission approve Resolution 3456, amending the city's FY26 budget by $148,949,842, and this amendment will take the city's fiscal year 26 budget to a total of $407,337,018 citywide.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Resolution 3457.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, city staff is requesting Commission approval, Resolution 3437, amending the classification and pay plan. This request is to reclassify one full-time equivalent administrative coordinator position in Public Works Utilities Department for a full-time equivalent utility plants maintenance superintendent position in the Public Works Utilities Department. The fiscal impact for the city for the remaining year is estimated to be $22,000.
What's going on here? We're changing an administrative coordinator to a superintendent?
One of the challenges that Public Works and Utilities has had is with maintenance of equipment. And so this is putting a superintendent of maintenance in the Public Works and Utilities Department.
How, what? How do we go from a coordinator to a superintendent is top notch? So this isn't a foreman or anything, we're creating a superintendent? That.
Correct, we're taking a position
Just repurposing the
and
position.
repurposing the position.
Eliminating one
22
position, making another one.
Right, but I'm saying that's $22,000. I'm saying for a superintendent, that, when you look up their qualifications, that puts that in a bigger, pay bracket.
That's why it's the $22,000.
That's what, so why is a superintendent necessary for maintenance? You're saying that there's been an issue with, what did you say, Mr. Bonaparte?
It's for utility plants, it's the plant's maintenance, so it's over almost 20 technical people. Plant mechanics, lift station operators, electricians, instrumentation people, maintenance workers, equipment operators. Right now, we have no direct supervisor.
Richie, can you come on up, please? That gets on the microphone.
Mayor, City Commissioners, City Manager, Rich Caselli, utility plants manager.
Okay. So this is out there where you're at?
Yes.
And this is a superintendent that's gonna supervise other employees?
Yes.
Okay, and so we're taking a position, an administrative coordinator, changing it to a superintendent and increasing it by $22,000?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. I just needed to know, Richie.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's what I'm here for.
All right.
Well, can I speak?
Yes.
I had a conversation with Brent Johnson, Richie's boss. He is now finally starting to implement some changes that he sees are needed, and that is going to involve maybe changing some positions and titles, and using those personnel slots elsewhere where he sees fit now.
Looks like a plan. It just didn't make no sense, but we got it.
When you see it on paper, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Well, it's overseeing plant maintenance staff and repairs, construction, all the lift station people, the water and wastewater plants, the well fields. So that's a lot of people to supervise.
He explained it.
Okay. Okay. Did we get a motion?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passed.
I don't.
We didn't have a motion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Him, me.
Okay.
Aye.
Third.
All right. Passed unanimously. Resolution 3458.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is a request from the City Commission to the Commission to approve budget amendment in Resolution 3458 in the amount of $21,009 for a citywide fleet technolics system.
Any questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Passed unanimously. Resolution 3459, this is an add-on.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is a request for Commission approval of Resolution 3459 pertaining to the non-exclusion of auxiliary construction of city infrastructure maintenance facilities, including water treatment plants, sewer treatment plants, public works storage equipment yards in the statutory development process as implemented in the city's land development regulations, and this is what Ms. Henson was referring to.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously. City Attorney, comments?
I would just, with regard to, I believe it was Ms. Hudgens who came and spoke about the public records request, I will follow up with staff as to a response. Sometimes what is requested, the document does not exist. Under public records, you're not required to create a document or create a database. And so I will see if that is what is applicable in this particular instance and see what response she has received.
Thank you. City Clerk's report.
Nothing to report.
City Manager.
Nothing at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Britton.
Mayor, be safe on your trip to Tallahassee. That concludes the District 1 report.
Thank you.
Fight the good fight for us.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
I was brought out. Last year, we gave money to Andre Klaus, Christian Tech. What is the title? Christian Tech Center Ministries for computers for. I think last year we did some for some of our kids. But this is once again he's redoing some facilities. They're redoing some facilities at Recovery House over in Goldsboro. And they want to upgrade some of the technology there for those folks that are there trying to better their lives. And he was wondering if the city would be able to share some funds towards that effort again. So I wanted to give $1,000 to Christian Tech Center Ministries from my commissioner funds for a public purpose.
Second.
All in favor?
Does anybody want to help out?
Oh, I don't know what my funds look like. That's probably one of the things.
Let's use Carrie's money while he's gone.
I move to approve.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
And I'd just like to chime in one more time with regard to the cat show. When you're voting on that public purpose, Ms. Mahaney did a great job of focusing on the various matters as it relates to public purpose. So we want to not simply be focused on economic development, but the fact that humanitarian, there are cat rescue, children who go under classes, things of that nature. Those are the things that you want to make sure are on the record when you're making these donations for public purpose. And she did that, but I want to just bring that to your attention.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Couple of things. We got a letter from Seminole Audubon Society about the Purple Martins, and specifically thanking Robert Bale, Matt Coleman, Eddie Diaz, Dan Teff Tillman, Henry Dye, Patrick Higgins, and Faye Winfrey. So I wanted to let y'all know about that. I emailed out the draft of the goals. If you have changes or suggestions, make sure you get those to the clerk or to the city manager. Otherwise, we'll finalize that. But one way or another, we're going to finalize that at our next meeting when everyone is here. And then I would like for somebody to make a motion on my behalf to provide up to another $5,000 from the mayor's discretionary funds to fund the Goldsboro quilt project.
Move to approve.
Move to approve.
For public purpose.
All in favor?
Patrick, did you say move to approve too?
Yeah, that was a second.
What did you say second?
Second, third, fourth.
Close enough. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Meeting adjourned.
Yep, too late.
What?
Meeting
Are
adjourned.
we really spending $9,000 on a shadow box truck quote?
I think that's crazy,
We're-
but I'm not
we're
saying
working on
nothing
quotes.
else.
Okay.
But
Can't we just hang that quilt on the wall?
I'm telling you.